Do 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 do. Hey, what's up? Here's one example, and there are countless examples. I don't know if you know what the Rosetta Stone is. It's 3 languages on one tablet, and from that was the only way we were able to decipher ancient Egyptian. And yet, every ancient Egyptian translation, if you read it, is nonsensical garbage. I mean, you can kind of get what it's saying, but it is nonsensical garbage. And that is because the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs were not lingua franca, you know, the normal folk language. It was a metaphysical language of the priests. And this is where you could have basically all the facts before you, but you can't make a cake. It's kind of like a fool who has eggs, flour, and sugar, and whatever else you need. They can't make a cake. You know, they could sit there and slap all the stuff together. They can't make cake. The statement I get all the time is people seem to think that I'm somehow anti-scientist or anti-math. And that's not true at all. And people say, well, the math works, therefore it must be true. Well, here's a fact. Facts are not explanations, and descriptions are not explanations. Someone might be a horse doctor, and I think just like a human doctor who dissects, like, cadavers. I think horse doctors also, too, have to dissect horse cadavers. They can know everything empirically about a horse, but they can't tell you the or the nature, essence of a horse. You know, they might be a really good doctor. You can fix him up, and that doesn't tell you anything, because what a horse doctor knows about horses is 1,000% different than what a jockey would know about a horse. The horse whisperer, for example. You could take like the best horse doctor on earth, and this is only like the perfect, one of countless perfect analogies. You know, they have no idea what the horse whisperer, which is a true story, the horse whisperer. The horse whisperer knows the essence of a horse. They know basically what the horse is thinking, and they know what every little ear movement and twitch on the horse is. They might not be able to operate on a horse, obviously, so the horse whisperer, I don't think he could operate on a horse, not a horse surgeon. But he knows the essence of a horse. Descriptions aren't, why am I peeling a tangerine? I'll tell you that in a second, by the way. I'm not peeling it to eat it, however, I will eat it later. Descriptions are not explanations. This is, and I'm not going to point to any one specific example because there are many. Like some fool who has memorized a holy book. You know, they sit there and memorized every word of it, but has no idea what it says. There are many, many examples of this, by the way. They've memorized every word inside this book, but they have no idea what it says. They have no idea what it means. I memorized it. I don't even need the book anymore. I memorized it. Well, so what? You haven't penetrated the essence of any of it. Yeah? You have no idea what it means, what it says. You got no idea. No clue at all. Memorization. This, of course, is a distinction between empirical knowledge and wisdom. Descriptions are not, I know I'm repeating myself, try to drive it home. Descriptions are not explanations. Facts are also not explanations, I've already said. You can calculate satellite trajectories. Well, the Voyager was the most, Galileo is a Jupiter satellite. You can calculate satellite trajectories, which are very specific and need to be extremely specific, otherwise the satellite, in the case of Jupiter, is going to miss its mark and crash into XYZ moon or planet with extreme accuracy. And this is not my opinion, this is a fact. No scientist can give you the definition of a field, and they can't tell you what gravity is. There are, and I keep on top of all these articles. Okay, this is where scientists are talking to themselves. They are still utterly confounded by the fact, in their own words, that they have no idea what gravity is. They haven't got a clue. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason why it doesn't make any sense at the most fundamental level is since they are atomists, it is completely radical to them of instantaneous action at a distance, because how is something communicating at extreme distances without particle? You see, if you're an atomist and you deny the ether, you must replace it, and there's only ever been 2 foundations of reality. One's based in the ether, and the other one's based in atomism. Atomism can't even explain A fifth of the universe. Only the ether can. They can't understand instantaneous action at a distance, i.e. gravity. They can't explain countless things. I mean, they're completely confounded by gravity. But people say to me all the time, "Oh, the math works. Therefore, these people must be." No, it doesn't. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove anything at all. Sure, it does. No, it doesn't. So we've got extremely accurate trajectories of satellites and things that we've sent all the way to Uranus and Neptune. Voyager, which is well past Pluto now. That has nothing to do with explanation. J.J. Thomson, who's the discoverer of the phenomena of the electron, he himself called it a dielectric, what is it called, a unit of dielectric induction. He himself completely denied this charge-carrying particle nonsense, which is all atomists think everything's a particle. Mother Nature's a crazy chick with a bag of magic bumping particles. That's all atomism is. It is materialism by definition. It is materialism. He himself knew that was ludicrous, but since he was offered the Nobel Prize, why not go along with it? Fame and fortune is always a good thing, right? People, I can't keep drilling it through people's heads enough that the accurate math, which I'm not against, a true believer in science, and science today is used in lieu of a replacement for religion, is usually, well, that's science. We want to follow the science. We want to see what scientists... Some of the most ignorant people on earth that I've ever talked to or read some of their writings, I mean fools, because they love. There's nothing they love... The only thing they love more than to talk about themselves is to try to attempt to explain something. And this is where they always fail. They say, well, if they only said an article or paper, according to math, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, this is what's going to happen. We've made accurate predictions, and that's all full and fine. Nobody's disputing that. I've never disputed that. I've never disputed the math, which works. So some other scientist could use that math on the other side of the world and reproduce the phenomena, the experiment, the discovery. But that has absolutely no bearing on the explanation of what the H is going on. It has no bearing on it whatsoever. It has no bearing at all. The so-called photoelectric effect. That's, by the way, what Einstein got his Nobel Prize for. The photoelectric effect, by the way, he was not the person that discovered that. He got it for his explanation, but his explanation is completely ludicrous. Well, sure, his explanation is right. No. The math, the repeatable experiment, none of those things are in any way connected to the explanation of what is going on. None of these scientists can give you a definition for the word energy. Ask them to define energy. They can't. Ask them to define a field. They can't. And by the way, this is not my opinion either. This is a fact. Everything they understand, the word quantum, by the way, which is based on the word quantity, i.e. materialism, i.e. atomism, is, by their own definition, based upon their understanding of the nature of what light is and how it works. Well, they know nothing about light. Well, I say nothing, next to nothing. Light's not an emission. Light doesn't have a speed. It has a rate of induction based on the hysteresis of the medium, i.e. the ether. Light is not a wave. There's no such thing as waves because waves don't exist. Waves are what things do, not what things are. Light is not a particle. Light is not a wave-particle duality. And by the way, there are no dualities in nature, which implies inherent contradiction. It is implicit and explicit that a duality is an inherent contradiction, or something that is conflict with another thing. Light is not in conflict with itself. There's no such thing as a wave-particle duality. There's no such thing as waves, and light's not a particle. A photon is an arbitrary concept. And what it is a concept of measurement. We have to particleize this stuff, because if we can't particleize it, we can't count it. If we can't count it, then we can't make mathematical calculations about it. And that's all and I'm not against math, but that's all mathematicians care about. If you can't count it, you can't quantify it, then it's not important. Everything must be quantized. Good luck trying to quantize love and hate and confusion and depression and countless other things. The axis mundi of everything, all of the world's history, is rooted in love, hate, hope, desire, so on. These cannot be quantified. That's the reason why science is not interested in that stuff. That's the realm of... But again, they will actually try to quantize it. Well, these are chemical reactions: love, hate, desire, hope. Yeah, these are just nothing other than atomic, chemical, nuclear, molecular reactions inside the brain. Therefore, they can be quantized. Well, no, they can't. It's completely ludicrous. No one's ever quantized an emotion. Sure you can. Electrical impulses in the brain. Actually, they're electrostatic. And then you have to ask them, how do you quantize instantaneous action at a distance, quantification for like somebody seeing something, you know, at an infinitely far distance, or something that doesn't exist, like this fire on my screensaver, and being emotionally moved by it. How can something which does not exist, this imaginary fire, invoke a quantifiable reaction in the human brain, which is molecular, chemical molecular reaction, a chemical reaction in the brain? They can't give you an answer to that. I just wish people would understand that just because the math works and the fact that it can be reproduced has utterly no bearing on the explanation or the accuracy, the validity, the undeniable simplicity, or in their case, lack thereof. There is no connection between math, descriptions, and explanations. Absolutely none. They are not connected. The first thing a scientist does when he discovers a new discovery, something to do with nature, he's just discovered something, just whatever it is. You know, they'll tell you how to find it, they'll tell you how to reproduce it, they maybe give you the math for it, but the one thing they love to do, all of them, I've read so many of their papers over the decades, is they love to tell you the explanation of what they think is going on. But their ability to reproduce it and give you the means by which you could reproduce it has no bearing on their explanation, and they love nothing better than to explain it. This tangerine is toroidal, yeah? It's a donut shaped, essentially. Here's this nice little empty spot in the middle where nothing is, yeah? Just like a magnetic field. The conjugate geometry of the entire universe is hyperboloidal and toroidal. The geometry of force and motion, inertia and acceleration. And there's not a single scientist on this earth that understands what that means. They don't understand the implications thereof. They don't understand that everything in the universe is irreducibly and simply put into capacitance, resistance, permeability, and permittivity, which has nothing to do other than saying pressure mediation. All of nature is reducible to a simplex primer, whereby which all understanding, or window which all understanding must pass through. If it doesn't pass through that, then that means your primer or window of the whole universe must be incorrect. It must be either thrown away or it must be modified. 9 times out of 10, it must be thrown away. Because if it's one way, then it's horribly wrong at its fundamental basis. But of all the observed phenomena in the universe, there's only one primer and one window through which all observed phenomena passes, and it's the same one I've been talking about for years. Mother Nature is really simple, and it follows simplex rules of pressure mediation, force and motion, inertia and acceleration, centrifugal divergence, centripetal convergence. Pressure mediation, same thing the plumbers know, is that poo rolls downhill. Same reason that you slope your pipes on your gutters like I just did yesterday. Same reason why you slope your pipes in your basement. Pressure mediation, right? Everything in nature works that way. It's the irreducible simplex foundation of everything. But there's only 2 models of the universe. One is impossible and the other one is simplex. Atomism and materialism is impossible. Only the ether answers everything. Only that. And just remember that there's no such thing as a wave, because scientists love talking about waves. Next time someone tells you waves, say waves of what? Say what? Waves. Waves of what? And then they'll say, well, electromagnetic waves. And I go, oh, You shifted the blame from waves to electromagnetism. Yes, 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 yes. Electromagnetic waves. Oh, now we're talking about fields. Yes, yes. Electromagnetic fields. Yes, 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 yes. And then you go, oh, so now let's not talk about waves. Let's talk about fields. Waves don't exist. And now since we're talking about fields, yes, electromagnetic fields. Oh, now all you have to do is define the word field. In which case, they'll go into a type of contortion, maybe like an epileptic seizure. Define field for me. So you want to talk about electromagnetic fields? Fine. All I have to do is define the word field. You're a scientist of great acclaim, PhD hanging on the wall. Yes, 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 PhD. Oh, well, there would be nothing easier for you to do than to define the word field. Well, God, I can't do it. Descriptions are not explanations. Okay?